Hello, everybody. Welcome to the summer reading wrap up. So excited because I have some new faces to introduce you to. But if you have any questions for us about the books as we go through them, let us know. But I thought we would just start with, introductions. That's the most important thing. So, hi, I'm Gwen. You're on my channel, Gwendolyn Kinsinger. You can find me on Instagram at Lavender Mud. I also have a podcast called Bookish to Me. And I read a lot of books and we're going to get into some of them. Eliza, you're next.
Hi, I'm Eliza. On YouTube, I'm Eliza's Bookshelf. On Instagram, I'm Eliza's Bookshelves because it got taken first. I like reading mostly fantasy and romance and some mystery thriller. But I've been kind of in a romantic-y era. And yeah. Oh, I'm from California.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I'm from Cleveland. My name's Naomi, and my channel name as well as my Instagram is Naomi's Library. It's right here. And I read a little bit of everything, but right now I'm in my fantasy era. So
yeah, I like all the fantasy girlies at the top. Not me, but just
Is it my turn?
Yeah, sure.
My name is Grace. My YouTube is currently overbooked, and then my Bookstagram is currently .overbooked. So, and then I mainly read romance, but I have been entering my fantasy era. She is my new love, my new obsession. So,
love that.
Everybody's entering their fantasy era, but me.
No, girl, me either.
We're going to convert you.
We'll just stay over here in our lane.
No, we'll convert you. No.
We're going to convert you. By the end of this live stream, you will read a fantasy book.
Yeah.
It will be on your TBR.
My name's 𝒬𝒏. Riveting Reads on YouTube and then riveting.reads on Instagram. I have a book club called the Lights Out Book Club. It's like a thriller horror book club. We meet monthly. I'm also hearing echoing. Are other people
a little
hearing?
bit.
I don't know if it's me. I can't tell. I'm sorry. Anyway, I post normal bookish videos. I don't know. Let me mute myself and see if it goes away. Maybe someone else say something.
Hello? I still hear it. I think someone has it opened and they're on. I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not you.
Let me know if I forgot something.
What do you like to read?
Thank you. I was telling them backstage, my brain is not braining today. I'm slightly under the weather, so my brain is a little bit loading. But I love reading thriller, horror. I actually, funnily enough, have Fourth Wing on my TBR. Don't know if I'm going to read it, but I've heard amazing things. But I'm just nervous, if I'll like it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm so excited to have you guys on because I was telling you guys backstage, I was telling my friends oh, these are the people I'm having on this month. And they were like, who is that? And I was like, well, let me be the person to introduce you. So let's see who's here. Summer's here. So excited. Jordan's here. Hello. Let's go. Jessie loves these. She's like, are you doing one this month? And I'm like, no, you have to wait till the end of summer. Hey, Angel. Lena. Oh, Lena is how she said, Eliza, so great to see your beautiful face on live. Lena is how I found your channel, Eliza.
Aww.
So shout out to Lena for helping me find a new friend. Some new and familiar faces. Fourth Wing. I knew if you brought that up,
I know. I would love it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I went to my in-person book club the other night, and we do have some fantasy girlies on my book club, and they were like, has everybody read Fourth Wing? And I'm like, no, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with that book.
Hey, Gabby. Haven't had time to read much. That teacher life, that cheerleading coach life. Yeah. Excited to be here. Kate. Yes, summer wrap up, the whole summer. Okay, so first question, just in general, like in case people don't like follow you already, which all of their links for their channels are in the description box. You need to follow all of them, even on Instagram. Find them on Instagram. Grace is always posting the cutest reels of all the little books she reads, and it gives me life. But you need to go follow all of them. But do you post like monthly reading wrap ups on your channel on the regular? I do not. I use these as my wrap up, but I do mini reviews of all the books I read over on my Patreon. And then I post them on Goodreads and Storygraph. So where can they find reviews from you? We'll start with Eliza.
I do monthly wrap-ups on my channel, but earlier this year, I did this thing where I only read 5 books and then I bought 1 book to control my book spending. So earlier in the year, I didn't do like a monthly wrap up. I just did like every time I read 5 books, I'll review those 5 books. So I think I'm going to restart that in September because summer spending's been a little bit crazy. So I might do that again, like the read 5 and then buy. But I'm trying to also be more active on my Instagram. So I'll probably do stuff there too, like reels. I'll probably look at your stuff, Grace.
Yeah, Grace has really good ideas.
Yeah.
What about you, Naomi? Do you do wrap ups?
I don't do wrap-ups on my channel. I played around with a couple of like real ideas, just like a quick wrap-up of whatever books I read. I think I did that in July and it did pretty well. But mainly the wrap-ups that I do are like pictures, and I'll just on Instagram, and I'll just point out like a couple of my favorites from the month. So I've had some really good reading months like this summer. So I had a ton of favorites and I was posting it on like my Instagram. So just like a picture of me with a whole bunch of book jackets around me. So that's kind of how I do a wrap up.
Yeah, nice. Also, what I love about your reels, Naomi, is when you travel and you have a trip coming up. I'm so excited to see all of the content from that. So
I have all the ideas on a saved folder on my phone. I'm like, I already trained my boyfriend. I'm like, we're doing this and this, and you're helping.
Where are you going?
I'm going to London and Scotland.
Oh my gosh!
On Friday, and I'm so excited.
I was gonna say, Naomi has the best like. She even has a solo travel little reel. It's so good.
I did. I went to Boston. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That sounds fun.
All right. What about you, Grace? Do you do monthly wrap-ups?
I do monthly wrap-ups. I do monthly wrap-ups on my book YouTube and then also on my Instagram. And I know it's not like wrap-up related, but since there is Fourth Wing hype, I have a reading vlog, a spoiler-free reading vlog of Fourth Wing coming up, and I was just editing it, and my reactions, I was like, oh my god, this is like too much. Like it's too much. So if you're wanting some inspiration for Fourth Wing, watch my vlog when it's up because it will inspire you. I was getting secondhand embarrassment, but I think it's a good kind of embarrassment.
You mean inspire you to read it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I might want to reread it after I watch it then.
What about you, Sav?
I have done occasional wrap-ups. I'm not the best at doing them on my channel, but I did just make a TBR game. So I'm actually going to start doing wrap-ups because I'm going to stick to what I do in my TBR game because I like limited it to 5-ish books. It's like 5 roles. And so each role you have to choose a different book. And so, yeah, it's very motivating for me now. So.
Did you already post your video about that? I haven't seen it.
I did. Yeah, I posted it in the beginning of the month and I made...
I did not. The beginning of the month was chaotic. I had a trip. I'm sorry. I missed it. Now I need to go back and watch it.
You're totally
So what's the game like?
I should show you guys. Where is it?
Hey, that piece of furniture is tricky.
Let me grab it really quick.
It doesn't...
I know the whole thing opened.
I thought it was like 3 separate drawers and like 3 of them open.
No, it's a trick drawer. It's crazy. I got it at Goodwill for like $10.
Nice.
But it's very confusing. So I made this like board.
Cute.
And long story short is like I roll the dice, I land on one of these symbols. Each symbol means something different. And then I have 2 stacks of prompts. So one from my patrons, one from myself, I guess. And then I just like have to match a book to the prompts. And yeah, it's really fun. I try to make it look like dark academia.
It does. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. Let's see. You got a new subscriber, Grace.
She's still a work in progress. I'm still editing, but I will make sure to be on top of it.
Yeah, Gabby, you were there. You were there. I went to Nashville. Yeah. So, and then Jesse says, I use Gwen's lives for my wrap-ups. Oops. Oh my goodness. I wish I was that creative, but I can't stick to my TBRs. She really can't though. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now we're just gonna go through, like, if you have the books that you read each month. I guess I'll start. I'm just gonna go by month. So I'll start with June. I read 18 books. So it's quite a stack. It does not fit on the screen. I'm so scared it's going to topple over. So I'll just go through them quickly. And this is like in reverse order. So the first one I read in June is like at the bottom. You know, it's backwards. But I read Never Trust a Gemini. Where am I going to put these books?
It's
after
funny
I
because
hold
I'm
them
a
up?
Gemini.
Never trust them.
Never heard of that book.
You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, which I have fond memories of because I read that in jury duty. I read a couple of graphic novels, Surfside Girls and Tide Song. I read The Summer of Broken Rules. I read that for what's it called? Suns Out, Books Out. I read The Whispers by Ashley Aldrain. I read a couple like summary like things, Same Time Next Summer and Summer Reading. This one was interesting. It's the way it was like formatted and stuff like that, like makes sense to the story. So that was an interesting one, but I loved this one. I also buddy read The Off Limits Rule with my friend Keisha. I read Drowning by T.J. Newman, which I do not recommend reading on a flight, but it was good. I read a lot of Book of the Month books. So My Murder, The Only Survivors, and She Started It. For my in-person book club, I read Our Lives Under the Sea. And then one of my favorites of the month, I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. And then I read Meet Me at the Lake, which is also kind of summary. I actually liked her debut novel a little bit better, but that one was still good. And then I read Melt With You, which is a YA, and The Black Flamingo. So those are the books that I read in June. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. Let's see. I think I have like 10 books here, so this will probably fit.
Yay!
This is in no particular order because just like 15 minutes before this live, I have Six Scorched Roses by 𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒂𝒔. This is a novella that you were supposed to read like right in between her duet. But I read it after the two. I got Daughter of the Pirate King by 𝒑𝒐𝒏𝒏𝒂𝒔. And I wish I could say I read a lot of Book of the Month books too, but this is the only one I read that month. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I read A Dawn of Onyx, which is like a romance fantasy book. I honestly can't remember anything about that though. I read Heartstopper, Volume 1. And then these two I really liked, but I think I like the second one better. Once More with Feeling, and then Funny You Should Ask by Elisa Sussman. But I think she's like a new favorite author of mine. Oh my God, I think this is my favorite of the month. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is the first in duology. And then, oh, this is a favorite too, Red, White, and Royal Blue. And then after I read this, I watched the movie. Wait, no. Yeah, this one.
Okay, so did you like the book or the movie better?
I don't know. I feel like I like both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the movie yet, but I have read the book. So
I mean, leading up to the movie, there was all these like trailers and snippets and teasers. I was just dying for the whole movie. So I think I just love the whole experience.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I like both of them. The book, I cried though, and near the end, like the last fourth of the book, I was just sobbing. And then last one is Inadequate Air by Danielle L. Jensen. Those are my books.
Nice. All right, Naomi, what you read in June?
I'll go next. I read 14 books, but I only have these much. Either they're being borrowed or they were ARCs. I don't remember. But at the start of June was Dystopian Readathon. So I was reading The Selection, which was a reread, and also Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which was also a reread. So I read these two dystopians. I also read The Last Word by Taylor Adams that month. Was that like a June pick? Because I don't know. Yeah. I read that one. And then I also read Sweet Magnolias by Cheryl Woods. Just the audio is because I started the TV show, so I wanted to start that series. I read Girls Like Girls by Haley Kiyoko. That was an ARC, so I don't have it physically. This Delicious Death, I don't remember the author, 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒔 for that one. I got sent this book called The Do's and Don'ts of Love by 𝒑𝒂𝒗𝒔, so I read this in June too, and I loved it. I also got an ARC of The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy. It's a romance book, so I don't have like copies of these. I read The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth in June. Have Fun Memories. I read this audio on my road trip to Taylor Swift. And I also read an ARC of Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I read Happy Place as well, and I loved it. I was in a Rachel Harrison kick, so I also read a short story by her called The Veil. And I read an ARC of The Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. And lastly, I read Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center because the movie was coming out on Netflix. And
oh my gosh, I read that too.
Yeah, I was gonna meet her too, so I was like, I have to read it.
Did you watch the movie, Naomi?
I did watch the movie.
Did you like which one did you like better?
The book or the movie?
Yeah.
I would say the book. I mean, they changed a couple things in the movie, but it was still a good movie. It's like very like finding yourself, like hike trip type of like she just got divorced and like she's trying to find herself in this trip. Like it's very much, you know, all of the tropes.
I think I watched the movie like 5 times already.
Oh my gosh, so you really loved it. That's okay. Well, I haven't read the book yet, but I do have it on my TBR, so I'm like, well, I have to wait to watch it until I read the book. So, all right, Grace, you ready to go next?
Yes. So I read a total of 8 books, and then I have 1 audiobook. So that's my stack. This is in no particular order. I just scour for all these books. But I have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by 𝒂𝒂🏐. And then I also read the novella, but I did it the correct way. I looked up the reading order because I didn't know that this was a thing until someone told me about it. And it was really cute. This was my like fantasy era. This is when I went full-fledged fantasy, but we do have a romance. Bloody Heart, Sophie Lark, love her. And then these are all out of order. Once Upon a Broken Heart, Stephanie Garber. And then The Ballad of Never After. I think about this book daily. And then what got me into fantasy was this series, because I'm just going to show it all. The Kingdom of the Wicked series.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Oh my gosh, I read the first book. I was halfway through, probably in like half a day. I was halfway through. And I had to go to my shift at whatever I work at Old Navy. And I was literally like, I cannot be at cash register today. Like, I cannot talk to people because this book just consumed me. And so I found a dank corner and I just refolded jeans while I thought about this book. And so then I Amazoned the next 2.
I love that for you. You're like, I cannot do the cash register.
No, I was like, to my manager, I was like, Brandy, I know I'm usually like the register girly because I'm so bubbly and talkative, but I can't today. Because all my thoughts are this, like, I can't. I have to be an NPC. I have to go just fold jeans in a corner and think about this. And then I have the next 2. And I read this whole series in like a span of 2 days. I'm not even kidding. It was so good. It's just so good. So that is your sign to go read it because I just loved it. And then I also listened to Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. I listened to that on an audio.
Awesome.
That was That's my
Yeah.
toy.
And I just love this comment from Lena. Y'all are speaking fantasies and I need an interpreter.
Sorry,
Hello, Lena.
I'm usually an avid romance reader, but this summer was just like my fantasy summer. I don't know why.
I love that. And then she also said, wait, wasn't June like this many weeks ago? For real. When I was pulling the books also, I was like, wow, I read this summer? Oh. So that's hilarious. Okay, what about you?
I read 8 books in June and I don't have most of them. So I guess I'll show the physical ones first and then I'll tell you guys what I read. So Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. And then I read The Chateau by Jacqueline Goldis. And then I read The Only One Left. And then for my other books that I read Killing Stalking Volume 2. Everybody so far has been like fantasy romance. I'm like Killing Stalking. And also funny story about that. I actually returned it to Amazon and it was the most awkward experience of my life because I walk in and I'm just carrying this book called Killing Stalking. Felt really weird about it, but I was like, all right, hello. Then I read Creep and Freak by Jennifer Hillier, Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. So I read a ton of Jennifer Hillier and I was very much obsessed. She's like one of my new favorite authors. So those are the books I read.
Wow. I love that you read some. I want to read the Creep and Freak or whatever. I haven't read those by her, but I do love Jennifer Hillier. So
yeah,
yay, exciting. Yeah, I can just imagine you go to like wherever you're making your return and you're like, I'm a creeper, I'm a stalker.
it felt really weird. I was like,
You're returning it though, so it's not like, you know.
Like I received this by accident. I don't know how this got to my house.
Take it back.
and just like if they looked through it, they'd be kind of like, oh, okay, but whatever.
Yeah, Jess is the one that got me into Jennifer Hillier, and Jar of Hearts is my all-time favorite by her. That book just threw me through a loop. Okay, so for July, I still read a crap ton of books. I read 17 books. I don't think they're gonna fit. Here we go. Here they are.
I need to know how you read so much.
That is an arm workout.
Well, I also don't have a job, so that also helps. But I read the St. Ambrose School for Girls for my in-person book club. Little let down by it. I read 6 stories, which I didn't enjoy. So this is about a podcast journalist that works on like cold cases, it's not like true crime, but he just kind of presents the facts. And I didn't like the case that he was working on in here. So, I didn't love it that much, but I read about the case that he does in like the second book. And I was like, ooh, that one sounds really good. So you can read them as standalones, but it's a 6-book series. And I just posted a vlog today that has some of these short books that I read in it. And some person has read all 6, I guess. And they said it just gets better and better and better. So I'm really excited to continue on, even though I didn't personally love that one as much. I read The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent, which I haven't heard the best things about this author, but I really like this book. It was so fast paced. I read it basically in one sitting. I started reading it. I went and saw the Barbie movie. I came back. I finished it. So I really like that. Another graphic novel out there. That's a middle grade graphic novel. I read a classic. And Then There Were None, which it's about time that I read this book because I've only read like 10 retellings or reimaginings of this with this trope. So I was like, it's time to get to the original book. I read Any Man by Amber Tamblyn. I read this beast of a book, Delicious Monsters. It's a YA horror book, and I do have a dedicated reading vlog for reading this. And it was so weird because I was home alone. I forget where my husband was, but he went out. Let's just say he went out with his friends. But I was home alone while I started reading this, and like creepy things were happening to me that would like something would happen, and then it would talk about it in the book, and I'd be like, wait, and then I'd do something else, and then it would have it in the book, and I was like, hold up. Is this book cursed? Like, what is going on? So it was a very fun reading experience. I read a couple of Dark Academia, The Fortunate Ones, which I did not like this one. I liked this one a little bit better, Tell Us No Secrets. And then this is the second book by this author, The Summer of Broken Rules. Read this, liked this as well. It's still not like my favorite. I still don't read a lot of young adult anymore, but this one was really fun because it kind of has like a game aspect to it, kind of like a scavenger hunt type thing. I also read What Belongs to You, another short book. This book, which I don't even know who to pitch this to, but for me, it was like the perfect book. It's very, very short. It's called Last Night at the Lobster by Stuart Onan. And it's literally about this Red Lobster the last night before it closes because it's no longer making money for the company. So they're closing it down, and you follow the manager through the last night of working at the restaurant. And there's a snowstorm, so they don't get a lot of customers. But I used to work in the restaurant industry for a very long time. I've worked in the kitchen. I've worked as a hostess. I've worked as a server. So I've kind of worked in the restaurant industry for many years, probably altogether, maybe like 7 years. And so this was it just like spoke to my little heart. And plus, like I rewatched season 1 of Bear, and then I watched season 2. So I was just like in my, like, I don't know. It was just a thing for me. So I loved that one. I read The Ferryman by Justin Cronin, which was also another massive book. I read this for my book club, the Night Owl Book Club, with my patrons. I rated that one 4 stars. It was kind of like dystopian, sci-fi. I don't know. It was a little long, but I really enjoyed it. The Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. The Christmas Wish, which I did a Christmas in July type thing. That's why I have like some kind of wintry books on there. And then I read The Odds by Jeff Strand for Elizabeth from Reading Riley, her book club, The Midnight Society. And that was really, really good. I really loved that. And then I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, my favorite thriller author. But I also read this for Sleep When I'm Dead, Jesse's book club. So yeah, that's what I read in July.
For me, I think I read like 9-ish books, but I only have 7 here. So first, I guess I'll go over Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. I read that one to prepare for the movie too, and I loved it. I feel like I haven't read any book of hers that I did not like. So yeah, I read that one, and then I watched the movie, and I loved it, and I watched it like 5 times. It's one of those movies that it's just like a comfort movie that I'll put in the background and, do whatever. But then I end up ignoring my chores and just watch the movie. So I read that one. That one I got from the library. I might just buy my own copy later. And then this one I also don't have with me because like I literally do not know where it is in the house. It's 1,000 Miles by Bridget Morrissey. I don't know if you guys have heard about her or anything, but this is the first book I've read from her. It's like friends to lovers to estranged people, and then like second chance romance. They go on a road trip together. I thought it was okay. And then, so these are my other books. This is like the remaining 7. And let's see. I'm going to put this over here because I want to talk about it last. This is my favorite. I read You With a View by Jessica Joyce. This is actually her first novel. When I finished this, I loved it so much that I was like, all right, I need to read every one of her books. But this is like it. This is it right now. So I can't wait until her next one. This one was a letdown. Rebecca Yarros.
You didn't like that one? I loved that one.
Oh my God. I feel so bad.
No, don't feel bad.
I love Fourth Wing, and I was like, dang, she has all these romance books, and I love romance. And then I read the back, and it sounds crazy. Like, the back synopsis is the brother writing a letter to Beckett.
But I've also been in the military, so I kind of felt like that connection and stuff. And the ending just made me sob, though. I mean, I was mad. I was really mad. I did kind of hate it, but I also sobbed.
I was like, this is so stupid. No spoilers, but I did not like this one. Sorry.
I don't know why that part had to be in there, though.
But I have another one of her books, so I'll give it another try.
Okay.
For now, I'll stick to Fourth Wing and reread that forever. Ali Hazelwood, Love Theoretically. This is my favorite book of hers. I've only read like her full-length ones. I haven't read her novellas. This is her 3rd full-length one so far, and I love this one. My favorite out of all of them. But it's so funny. I feel like she has the same formula, like the same type of girl, whatever. But I love that one. And then I started the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I'm like 2 books in now, and I actually like this one better. So yeah, there's that. That's my first book by Anna Huang. And then I read 𝒒𝒐𝒅 by 𝒔𝒂𝒄𝒂💄, part of like a Instagram book tour thing. So there are 2 books out already. And this was interesting. It's pretty thick though. So I was just like, how many pages is it? 540, 550-ish. And then these 2 for last, my favorite of the month. I read Jade City. So Daphne from Being Daphne, that's her channel. She like hosted this 3 months long read along for the whole series. And so we started with Jade City like a few months ago. And then I was kind of behind. So I read these 2, I guess in July. And it's just fantastic. This is one of my favorite fantasy series ever, like urban fantasy. If you guys are interested, it's not like heavy on the romance or anything, but they basically use Jade to manifest some sort of power. There's like a lot of different things you can do, and there's like different clans fighting each other. And Jade Legacy wraps it up so well. I gave 5 stars to all of them.
Yeah, they look massive though.
They are kind of massive, but honestly,
I'm
at the end of this
like,
one,
I'm intimidated.
yeah, it's like 700 pages, no big deal. But at the end of this one, I was just so sad because I was like, is this it? This is all I'll get of the characters. So sad.
Aww. Do
But
you listen to them on audiobook or do you read them physically?
I did half with these
Okay.
2.
Okay.
And it's so funny because for this one, I did do like part audio, part book, but the audio somehow like skipped over 5 chapters and I didn't realize it. And it like skipped over pivotal things, like someone died and I didn't know until someone in the chat said it. And I was like, what are you talking about?
You're
I think
like,
I would know someone died.
That's
Oh my
wild
goodness.
that they missed that.
I know. Something with Libby, I don't know.
Yeah, but sometimes what happens is that the narrators get the art copies of the books. Like they try to get them as early as possible so that they have time to produce the whole episode, or the whole book. And then in the editing process, of course, the author adds stuff, takes stuff away.
Yeah.
So that's time like sometimes like people will say like, why did they change it from like pancakes to waffles? I'm like, to me, that makes no sense. Like, why change something stupid like that?
Interesting.
But like big chunks like that being added, you're like, come on, you should have said, okay, I'm sorry it's last minute, but we have to put this in there,
That's so funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This was definitely my fault though.
Yeah, but still, like you would think, I mean, the people that only listen to it on audio that, can't read or don't have access to it, they just missed out.
I missed out on a lot there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All
if you
right.
haven't read Jade City, please read it.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm pulling it up on my phone because I do these like trackers. So I read 10 books in July. Sorry, I keep going away from a mic. I have a ton of them. So the first one that I read was You Don't Have a Shot by 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. This is like a sports soccer queer romance. I really liked it. Oh, I read Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, but my best friend asked me to borrow it, so she has that. And then I read The Collected Regrets of Clover. I gave this a 4 out of 5. It was pretty good. I was trying to read more book of the month books. I was trying to read everything by Rachel Harrison, so I read The Return by Rachel Harrison. This is probably my least favorite Rachel Harrison, but still, it was a fun time. I love her still. Then I read, as everyone did, The Only One Left by Riley Sager, my favorite Riley Sager now to date. This stack is getting ridiculous. I then read The Last House on Needless Street. It was weird. I was trying to read more Catriona Ward because I read Looking Glass Sound and I really liked that one, but I still like that one more than The Last House on Needless Street. I gave that one like a 3 out of 5 star. I was just too confused the whole time. It did not click until very, very late. I also read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I don't know if you gave it a rating, Gwen, but I didn't like that one as much. I gave it like a 2 star.
Yeah, I liked it like more in the beginning than the ending.
Yes.
Once the story kind of changed, I was kind of like,
it was also like not summer camp. Like that's how it kind of was like pitched.
yeah, I thought it was going to be summer camp, but it was really like
Yeah,
this.
it wasn't.
Like a production at a summer camp. But like,
And
I don't
even
know.
like if they would have done more of that, like I would have liked it, but it was just like the beginning.
I
It was
wanted more of the
amazing.
game, the whole thing.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
wanted
what-
more. But then it just kind of took off in a different direction.
Yeah. The next book I read was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I originally gave it a 4, but like I keep thinking about it, so it's definitely 5-star. So yeah, I read this one. I read the Bromance Book Club. This was a 4 out of 5. And the last book I read was for my IRL book club, which was Violeta by Isabel Allende. So yeah, and I gave that one a 4 out of 5. That was historical fiction. That's all I read.
Great wrap up there. What about you, Grace?
Okay, so I read a total of 9 books. I'm trying to get my stack.
Ooh.
There she is.
Yeah, some thick books in there.
I know. When I know you're like, oh, fantasy, like when Eliza put up first, like that's thick. You just get used to it. You just get used to the thick books. So I have a trilogy. It's the 𝒂𝒂𝒃 trilogy by Stephanie Garber, which is in the same universe as the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy or something. So you're supposed to read these first, but I didn't because I was ahead of myself and I wanted to read Once Upon a Broken Heart because everyone was like talking about those books. But if you're wanting to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, read these first.
I did read 𝒂𝒂𝒃. I have read that one.
I love it. When I don't want to go into work, I go on TikTok and I watch fan edits of the 𝒂𝒂𝒃. It's so embarrassing, but that's what I do in my little Kia Soul right before work. I watch edits of all my favorite books so I have the power to go into work. But this whole series is a 5-star series. It's so good. And then I have Broken Vow by Sophie Lark because I feel like I read one of her books every month. And then we have A Court of Thorns and Roses. I annotated
You
her as
slapped the
well.
books. You're serious.
I know. I'm sorry. I just love giving a book a good slap. And then I have A Court of Mist and Fury. So good. Everyone says to read A Court of Thorns and Roses if you want to get into fantasy. I don't agree with that. I think this book is very slow moving, and I'm glad I was a seasoned fantasy reader before I jumped into all this because it just doesn't, it's not fast paced, I feel like.
This was your first time reading them?
Yes. I read the whole series in the span of like,
oh my gosh,
3 months.
awesome.
Love that.
And then now we have some romance because I've got to go back to my roots. I have Things I Wanted to Say by Monica Murphy. This is technically the first book in the Lancaster Prep series. And she's a bully romance. I didn't know that going into it, but she was a fun time, I guess, if you like to be degraded. But and then we have Promises We Meant to Keep. And this was the third book. So this comes after A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. I didn't love her, but that's another story for a different day. And then I finished the Crowns of Nyxia series, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and I loved it. I ate it up.
I love that one.
Yes. Everyone hates on this book. They're like, oh, I DNF'd it. I hate that blah, blah, blah. And no.
I love the whole duet. I love
all,
it.
and I can't wait for the rest. But yeah,
I think I have the Arcane. I have the Arcane editions coming like later this year or something.
Well, okay, I didn't get the new editions since she got picked up by a new publisher, because they don't look any different.
Yeah, they look the same, maybe like green tinge or something.
If they changed it, I probably would have like had a little like shrine to Carissa Broadbent because I love her. But
so good.
I love that.
So for July, I moved. So it was kind of like a rough month for trying to be able to read. I read 5 books and I actually don't own any of them. So the first one is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, which was so good. I'm obsessed. It's amazing. I saved that for last because I heard it's most people's favorites. And every time I said that, people are like, how have you not read it? But I wanted to wait, make sure I was saving like possibly best for last. And then I read Never Coming Home, Over My Dead Body, Don't Let Her Stay, and The Drowning Woman. Sorry, I realized when I was writing up these notes, I didn't say all the authors' names. But yeah, those were the books I read. Kind of underwhelming reading month because I loved Jar of Hearts, and then everything else that kind of like came after, it just could not live up to it. And I was also sad because I had finished all of Jennifer Hillier's books and I was like, okay, well now what? Because I literally just want to keep only reading Jennifer Hillier right now. But yeah, that was my reading month.
Yeah, I get that. Like you read an author and they're just like in your soul and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what do I do now? Okay,
Mhm.
so obviously August is not over, but I have read 12 things so far, most of them being like short books or graphic novels. So right now I'm doing the back to school readathon and I've already finished like 5 books for that. So I read the art book, the Heartstopper yearbook. Um, that was cute. I read Battle Royale, which was a graphic novel. I read Ballad for Sophie, which is also a graphic novel. It's like 305 pages. I think this is my favorite graphic novel that I've ever read. Like ever. It's an adult graphic novel and it's set from like 1933 to 1997. And if you like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, this kind of has the same vibes. It's about a journalist going to sit down to talk to this man, and he is a pianist, and he was like world famous and stuff like that. But in 1933, him and another boy, they were in the same competition together, and it just kind of takes off. The story takes off from there. So it's not about like a love story, but it's mainly about like sitting down with someone, hearing all the behind the scenes of like their life and them being a pianist. And I don't know, it has a lot of like adult content, like drugs, and there's like naked women. But I don't know, it was just so sweet and so wholesome and like so magical, and like the art was really nice also. It has a really nice like color palette in it. I don't know. This one is going to stick with me for a while. So yeah, I really liked that one. And then I read a little Fear Street, like vintage YA horror, One Evil Summer. And then I also read The Au Pair. And then the other books that I have read this month so far is The Last One by Will Dean, A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, which this is probably one of my biggest disappointments of the whole summer because I love Samantha Downing. I was really looking forward to the Sleep When I'm Dead live show because the author was on there. And I was just really looking, like I wanted it to be a 5-star because all of her other books have been 5 stars for me, but this was like a 2, but let's not talk about it. Okay, I also read Summer Fires, which is another graphic novel, and I really like the color palette of this one. It has like orange and yellow and all that, but this graphic novel like made no sense at all. I'm like, what was the point? So don't read that. It's historical. I read Dark Corners by Megan Golden, and I loved this. I've heard multiple reviews. I've seen bad reviews. I've seen good reviews. I've seen in the middle reviews. I loved it and rated it 5 stars. So highly recommend that. I also read I Have Some Questions for You. I was kind of let down by that one, honestly. And then I also read The Cloisters at the beginning of the month. And I rated it 3 stars, but I constantly think about this book. And when I read it, I was in a reading slump. And so I feel like my rating was it was affected. So I'm definitely going to keep it and reread it at some point. But it was like dark academia at its finest. And it wasn't set in a school. It was set in a museum, but just like the vibes were right. I can like picture it in my head. I really loved it. So like my 3-star rating makes no sense, but it was just the mode that I was in. But that's what I read in August. How about you, Eliza?
Hold on. I just had a question. For Dark Corners, did you read the first one in that series?
Yeah. Yeah, the first one, I loved both.
Yeah.
I think I rated it 4 or 5 stars. I read it when it released. They're both produced so well on audiobook. Like if you're going to read them, read the audiobook.
Okay.
The first book was a little bit darker because it deals with the podcast host is the commonality. And then like, so you don't have to read the first one. And then the second one, you could just dive into the second one if you wanted. But the first one is about like, she's covering a rape trial. Oh. And so you do get little bits and snippets from that. So it is a little bit darker. But I thought it was really well done. And it made me like it. I loved it. So then I read this one, and this one is a little bit lighter of a, you know, it's not
I read that one.
But yeah, but I really liked it.
Oh, I'm excited. So far I've read 8 books, I think. And then I'm on my 9th book right now. I just started it today. It is The Snows of Nisa by 𝒍�𝒏𝒂𝒔. She's like an independent author. And that one I'm really liking. And then I'll probably squeeze in another one at the end of this month. But these are the other books that I read. One of them's not here because it was an ARC. I'll go over that one first. So these are my physical books. So the first one I read was actually the ARC. It is A Song of Shadow and Starlight by Morgan Gauthier. I don't know if you guys have heard of this one. I feel like this cover is not doing this book any justice because you can't really get a sense of what that book is about. But that one was cute. And then there's like a shadow daddy in there too, if you guys like those things. But that one was good. And then this one, The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. This is second in the Prison Healer series. It is YA fantasy. Prison Healer, I'll go into that a little bit because if I talk about this, it'll be kind of spoilery. But Prison Healer starts off with this girl who, like, she got caught up in this rebel movement thing, and she and her family are like innocent. But because she got caught up in this thing, she and her father were sentenced to prison forever, right? And it has elemental magic with like earth, fire, water magic, but she is basically stuck in this prison as the healer because she learned about all these things with her father. Her father's passed away now. But anyways, so she's like helping healing all the prisoners. And one day this old woman comes in and everyone's like, or she gets a secret message saying like, you have to protect her because she's important. She is like, I don't know if you're supposed to know who she is. I read this so long ago, I forgot. But so she has to protect this old woman, and she's like on her deathbed. She's basically gonna die just by like the wind blowing at her. But the old woman's sentence or whatever is basically she has to complete these 4 trials, and if she survive these 4 trials, then she'll be released or whatever. If not, she'll die. But she's obviously dying already. So the prison healer was like, you know, I'll volunteer, I'll take her place. And it's just so crazy. And this just continues at the end of that book. I loved it. This is like a trilogy. So I haven't read the 3rd one yet, but I'm excited to read that soon. I did read a couple book of the months this month, and Paper Names was one of them by Susie Luo. I really like this one. It's about
okay, good. I've been wanting to pick it up, but I'm like, I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you pick it as one of your book of the months?
No, but every time I go to the bookstore, I'm like, it's small. You know, so I'm like, I should just get it.
It's only like 270 pages.
Yeah, and I love the cover also. And it sounds good.
It's so cute. It's about this like Chinese family, like this Chinese couple and their daughter moved over to New York. And basically it just follows their life. And I mean, that's what it's about. But like at the heart of it, it's like their struggles, like the daughter and her struggles about like, you know, my family sacrificed so much for me. They, you know, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. They dropped their high paying jobs in China. They came over here to bring a better life for her. And so she's like struggling with like, what do I do with my life? Do I have to sacrifice my happiness to repay you? You know, and it's just a lot of stuff like that. It made me cry a lot.
So is it from the daughter's point of view?
No, it's a couple point of views.
Oh, okay.
So it's this point of view of her and like this other doorman worker and her father. Oh my gosh, it's so hard too because the father has like physical, mental abuse with the daughter. So there's that too. Mm-hmm. And then it's like him struggling to talk to the daughter. Like all he wants to say is like, I love you. I want the best for you, but it doesn't come out that way, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
Okay. I'll have to pick it up.
It's good. And then there is the second one in the Twisted series, and Huang. I heard a lot of people say that this was their favorite out of the series. So I was like, great.
That was my favorite as well.
Did you like this one?
Yes, that was my favorite as well. Yes.
Oh my God. I actually like the first one better. I think it's because
Chris is like, no.
Sorry. Thinking about that book, because I read it so long ago, it like gives me the ick. When he pulls out his guitar and sings to her, no.
Wait, what? In the first one?
Yes, he like pulls out his guitar and he like serenades her in the dark.
What? I might have forgotten about that. Maybe.
Yeah, because you blocked it out.
I'm like, skip. I mean, I like this. I just felt like it was so long. Like it
was
could
long.
be like a 2-parter thing. The first one was about, you know, their time during the first book, and then the second part was about, you know, the rest of her life, which I thought was cute. But I think it was long for me. It felt like 2 different books for me. Yeah. Ooh. The third one's your favorite? Okay, I'm so excited. I'm nervous about the third one though, because I have a friend named Josh Chen. So I'm like, I do not want to see your face when I'm reading this. This one is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I don't know if you guys know if this is her first book or not, but this is my first book that I read from her. And I love this one, actually. It's like the perfect grumpy sunshine for me. Like, the guy's not a big douche or a jerk. He's just like really, really grumpy. Like, the first time he meets her, he's just like, ugh, get away from me, you know? But it's basically about this wedding planner, and he is like the florist. And I think they've known each other for a couple of years, but they finally have to work together, and something happened a long time ago. So there's like flashbacks back and forth, but it was so cute. I loved it. And I met her too, and she signed my book. She said, "For Eliza."
Yay.
And then let's see. This, oh my God, the last three are kind of letdowns. I should have started with those. Let's start with The Boyfriend Candidate. This is by Ashley Winstead. Do you guys know this author?
Yeah, I've read all of her books. I don't like her romance books. I only like her thriller books.
I figured. I was reading it. I was like, maybe she should stick with her thriller. I read
maybe she should.
Yeah, I've read both her thrillers, but not her romance.
Oh
Don't do it. Don't do it, Sav. Save
What's
yourself.
wrong? Like, what's so bad about it?
I
Okay,
feel like I didn't
read that one, but the other one, what was it called? It's like the orange cover with the white font. Yes, that one. It was really political. It was also very cliche. It was like the Texas guy with the big bucket hat and the big belt buckle. And I'm like, give me a break.
Oh my
I hate stereotypical things. Like, people are more than the stereotype, you know? And the romance was not it.
I kind of felt like that in this book too. This is The Boyfriend Candidate. And I mean, I guess I should have seen it coming that it was very political. But basically, she is like very quiet, kind of like school librarian, and her boyfriend dumped her because he cheated on her and his excuse was saying she is very bad in bed. And so it starts out with her going to a bar saying like, I'm not bad in bed, I'm just gonna let loose, I'm gonna have a one-night stand. And turns out it's him, but they actually don't one-night stand it, because when they're going to the hotel, the fire alarm goes off and they're like getting out of the hotel room, and when they're at the ambulance area, people are like taking picture of him, and he's like, oh shoot, I gotta go. So he just dashes off, and turns out because he is running for governor in Texas. And I feel like the first like 3/4 of the book, I felt no chemistry between these two. So because they took pictures of him and her together, he's like, oh shoot, now I need to fake date you because they'll think that I'm just a playboy and I'm trying to change my image around. And so it's them like fake dating, but I felt no like connection or like chemistry between the two. And I don't know, it just sucked for a while there. And there is a lot of politics, which I was like, I guess I should have seen that coming, you know, boyfriend candidate, whatever. But even though like the politics, I liked it, I just felt like it was so in your face.
That's the thing. Like, it's okay to have some politics, but like, are you trying to push your agenda on me?
Right. Yeah. Like, even though
are you just sprinkling it in?
Even though I agreed with her politics, whatever, I was just like, I'm not trying to read about politics right now. And then A Starbringer by Tracy Wolff and Nina Croft. This is the first book I've read by Tracy Wolff. I know she did like that big Crave series, the vampire series or whatever. But I'm a big cover buy person, and I love this cover. And I thought it sounded interesting. It was marketed as Firefly meets The Breakfast Club in a like sci-fi new adult romance. So I was like, this sounds interesting. So it's basically about like, I don't know where they're living. There's like different planets now, right? And all these people are coming together to look at this brand new presentation about like how they can help with everyone in the galaxy, because something's with the sun. I think the sun is going to get it too hot, so everyone's going to die, and they're trying to stop that. So you have like this hodgepodge group of people coming together. Some people are trying to kill them, and they're like, why are you guys trying to kill us? But I thought it was just it's very like romance heavy, like insta-lovey. So I didn't like that. I didn't have like that slow burn that I usually like in romantasy series. So I did not really like any of the characters together. And it was just like really focusing on that a lot of times. It's like, hey, people are trying to, gun us down, but let's just sneak off and kiss a little bit. and make out, but it was very long. I think this book gave me a major book slump in this month. It's like almost 600 pages of boring. And then sad to say, this was also not one of my faves this month. I think all of us here has read it, maybe, except for Grace, maybe? I don't know. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I have read all of his books, and this is now my least favorite of his.
Is it? So which one is your favorite?
I like very controversial. I like Survive the Night.
I love Survive the Night.
Okay. I always hear people do not like that one.
We're like the
I
only
know.
people in the world who love it, but
I like that one and Home Before Dark.
Yeah, we're the 3 people that love Survive the Night, and I love that for us.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
it's
why
not
we're
my
in it.
favorite, but I
That's why
rated
we're
it
in this
5
group.
stars.
yeah, I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I've read all his books, and I'm going to talk about it later.
I read all the books too.
Because I agree with you. I was really let down by it, sadly.
This one?
Yeah.
Me too. You know why? Because I was just like, God. So for everyone who has not read it, basically there's this old lady who's like, I don't know, is she 80s or 90s? She's like in this damn house on a cliff. It's so dangerous, right? And she needs a new caretaker. No one wants to work with her or something because she apparently murdered her whole family, her parents and her sister. And she's like, I didn't do it, but everyone thinks she did because she's like all bloody with a knife. Looks very suspicious, right? And now that she has this new caregiver, she's like, I want to tell you everything now. I want to tell my story. But she tells it by typing on a typewriter 1 word per hour. And so I'm just like, damn it, just tell us the damn secret. And even the caretaker's like, why don't you just tell me, did you murder them or not? And she's like, I have to start from the beginning. I'm like, damn it. And this reminds me so much of Catherine Steadman's The Family Game, because I'm just like, if you just get the whole information, we wouldn't be in this mess. God. But yeah, I was really frustrated. And this one, I think I started this like 2 months ago. Whenever I think Gwen, you read it when it first came out. That's probably when I first started it, and I finally finished it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was rough.
There was stuff I really enjoyed in it, but I was just let down. I don't know. Are we waiting to talk about like our letdowns until after this?
My bad. I just went off.
No, you're good. I can wait for my
Naomi. Was that your last book, Eliza?
Yes, that's the last one.
Okay. All right, Naomi.
Alrighty. August, I read 7.5 books. I'm in the middle of one right now. Here is the stack. The first book I read was an arc, and it was Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was, I feel like there were plot holes in there. There were some plot holes in there. Yeah. And it's not the first time with Alice Feeney.
Same.
But,
Alice Feeney is not for me.
Yeah. I did really like Rock, Paper, Scissors, and I could look past like the plot holes in that one. But this one, I was just like, I don't know what just happened. The second book I read was another Catherine Center, and it was Things You Save in a Fire. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's not my favorite Catherine Center. It follows like a female firefighter, and it was, you can tell that it was written like 10 years ago. It's like very
I did read that one a long time ago.
It's not, yeah. I do want to read the next one by her. I want to read the Something Husband. I know there's a movie with Josh Duhamel, whatever his name is. Yeah,
I want to read that one too and watch it.
Yeah, I want to do that too. And I borrowed that one from the library. And then I read a graphic novel called Measuring Up. I love MasterChef, like in real life, like the Gordon Ramsay TV show, and anything with like a cooking competition or like cooking in general, like that book that you mentioned earlier. I'm kind of interested about like the restaurant business. But this one is like a little girl going into a cooking competition because she wants to have money to be able to bring her grandma from, I think it was Taiwan. Her grandma's in Taiwan and she misses her, so she wants to win this cooking competition so she can win the money and bring her grandma over to the United States. And it's the cutest thing, and it has to do with food, and I loved it.
You should try this one, Naomi. Have you read this one?
No.
Batter Royale. It's about a cooking competition as well.
I've added so many books to my TBR so far. Like I already added Kingdom of the Wicked, Ballad of Sophie. Like, hold on, it's called Batter.
Batter,
Royale.
like, you know, yeah, BATTE Royale with a E on the end.
Okay, is that also a graphic novel?
Yeah, it's a graphic novel. It's about these two that they've known each other since they were little kids. There's like a little romance. There's the cooking competition. She's
Okay.
trying to make the money to go to culinary school because her parents like can't afford it. And his mom has a restaurant that's kind of like not doing so well. So he's trying to make money too. But they do it as like a team and stuff like that. They go to London and it's like a whole little cute thing. So
This is pretty similar, I feel like, because she's
as soon as you held that up,
she's trying to win the money for her grandma, but then she has like a partner, and the other girl, like her dad has like a restaurant and all this stuff. But I really like that one. And then I randomly picked this up. I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Oh, cute. I'm gonna get it from the library most likely. But I went to Ann Arbor and I just saw this and I was like, I'm gonna buy it because I love the Sweet Magnolia show, and I just saw Magnolia and I'm like, I'm gonna like this. So it's called My Magnolia Summer by Victoria Benton Frank. It follows like 4 women. They're all in this family. So it's like the grandma, the mom, and 2 daughters. We mainly follow the one of the daughters, Maggie, and she lives in New York and she's trying to make it in like the culinary scene. So I'm like really into these books that have to do with like cooking. So she's really trying to make it in like the culinary world in New York and all that, and she has to go to Charleston because something happened. Her grandma had like a stroke or something. So she has to go to Charleston, and then they have like a family restaurant that's kind of like going downhill. So she kind of goes into the restaurant and tries to get it back up. And yeah, I really liked this one, and it has a little bit of romance. It has a lot of like family trauma, so I really liked it. So that's the next one I read. I read another graphic novel. I haven't been reading very much this month, but I read a graphic novel called The Princess and the Grilled Cheese. Every character in this book is a cheese name. So it's like Brie, Gouda. It was the cutest thing. It is translated from, I think the author, like the illustrator and author is from Brazil. So it's translated into English. I really liked that. It was really cute if you want like a cute graphic novel. Yeah, it was pretty cute. And then I read another romance, The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I love The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, so decided to read this one. It was a 5 out of 5 stars. It has a little bit of magical realism with this like apartment that our main character, her aunt passed away who she loved, and her apartment has like this magical realism thing that like someone else lives there that lives 7 years in the past, and she's falling in love with this man. So I loved it. And yeah, it was a 5 out of 5. Please don't hate me, Eliza and Grace, but I read Serpent of Wings and Night and I found it a little mid. I'm in my fantasy era, but I am very picky. I will always prefer a young adult fantasy over an adult fantasy, I will say. So like right now the book that I'm reading is Light Lark by Alex Astor, and I'm enjoying that a lot more. That is young adult. And mainly like the stuff that I read, like ACOTAR and A Curse So Dark and Lonely is another young adult fantasy that I love. Those are like what I like. So young adult more than like adult. So yeah, in the book that I said I was currently reading is Light Lark. So that's all I read in August so far.
Nice.
Okay, so far I've read 6 books in August. I've been a little bit busy because I just started a new semester of college, so she's been taking up most of my time. But this is where I went ham with I can't even say it right, the Court of Thorns and Roses series. Read A Court of Wings and Ruin. Everyone hates on this book because there's no romance subplot. I was eating up all the politics. That was surprising me because I am a romance subplot girly. My pea-sized brain cannot understand the intricacy of fantasy sometimes, so I go on purely for the vibes, but I really enjoyed her. And then we have the novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight. She was cute. She did what she had to do. And then we have
My favorite.
This was my favorite. I will be an Anesta apologist till I die. And I hate that she gets so much hate.
I have that on a necklace. Hold on. Let me show you.
I love that one.
It was just so good. I just
Oh
love
my
Nesta.
gosh.
Oh my god, yes. I
That's how
love
much
it.
I love it.
I run this in my newest video. She's not that new, but she's new. And if you want to see me cry in my final reactions of this book, it's in there. She's in there. And then I have some romance. Yes, thank you. I love Nesta. She's my girl. I read Mile High. She's a hockey romance. She is so good. It has a plus-sized female main character. And I don't know if anyone knows who's Five Sauce is, 5 Seconds of Summer, but I was a 5 Sauce girly in like middle school for some, like they were just my thing, my One Direction. And the main guy, Xanders, he has tattoos and he wears a lot of rings and like chains and stuff. And the whole time I was just picturing Callum Hood. If you don't know who that is, just Google him because I just love it. And then I looked up a Pinterest board of this and I'm so delusional. I just got a reality check like that, but it was so good. Highly recommend. And then I read the final book. I guess it's the latest book in the Lancaster Prep series, I'll Always Be With You. I actually really enjoyed this. It's about a dancer and then a rich boy. And it just has this good rich boy, rich girl drama. I just love reading about rich people and their petty issues. It's just so good. It's just, I eat it up every time. And then I read Fourth Wing. I'm not going to get into it. I am so jealous of Naomi with her pretty edges. I was late to the game. I was so delusional. I thought I could find her in the wild, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the boondocks where I live. I thought I could find her in the wild because I'm like, who reads in my hometown? Nobody reads. Like, I just live around like trash all the time. Like, I'm going to find it. No, sold out everywhere. So I'm stuck with the non-pretty edges, but
I actually randomly found this. Actually, my friend got it for me at Target. Or randomly, she just went down there. She's like, they had 2 copies.
I was having my parents go to Costco, Sam's Club. I'm like, if you find this book, you have to buy it for me and then UPS it. Ship that to me. And then I'm currently reading Twisted Hate. I'm only like 30 pages in because I have not been reading. I have a new obsession, and that is Love Island because I love trashy TV. And so this has kind of been the back burner, but I do really like it because I like enemies to lovers. But is
that the 4th one?
This is the 3rd one. The 4th one is Christian and Stella, which I'm actually looking forward to because I've heard really good things about that one.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. What about you, 𝒨? So far, how have you done?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I realized I kind of glossed over this last month. I did read Over My Dead Body. I mentioned it, but it's a graphic novel.
I love that one.
And I do want to say, like, I really wish I had this graphic novel with me because the artwork is literally like fall perfection.
It so really is. I have it.
It's so cute. And like the story I was fine with, but it was like I just wanted to live inside of it. And it
reminded me of Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah, Wednesday.
So
vibes.
If you need more Wednesday, read Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo.
It's so good. I think I just need to buy it and because it's so pretty. And then let's see. I've read 4 books. So it's funny that Grace mentioned reality TV because I started Vanderpump Rules and I watched all 3 seasons. The first, it's so good, guys. Like if you like reality TV, I don't know how I did not know about this show. So I literally have watched so many hours of that I've not been reading very much. But I just finished my 4th book this month. So I read, let me grab this. She Started It. And I mixed feelings about this one, kind of let down, to be honest. And then I read The Haunting of Ashburn House.
Did you like that one?
Did I like it?
Yeah, I've been meaning to read that one.
I liked it, but it took me a while to get through. I'm not going in a particular order. I started reading this physically, and then it was kind of like slow paced because she's a cozy horror author. So it's not like, I mean, I hate to say it's not high stakes because there are definitely some intense scenes and there's like gore and stuff, but overall it's more just like cozy vibes. So it took me longer to read, and then I finally finished it like by audiobook because I was like, I just need to finish this. But I ended up liking it. Like I think I'm going to give it 3.5 to 4 stars, just because it's a really good like fall if you don't really want to be that scared. I mean, it kind of depends on like tolerance levels, obviously, with scarier.
Yeah, I'll probably read that soon.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's cozy. And there was like some creepy stuff in it. I really liked, there was like some creepy picture elements, like the paintings were creepy, which I really liked. And I like the setup more of this than the actual, like what ends up happening. I just love that like haunted house setup. And oftentimes
I like that stuff.
Stay as like good to me as in the beginning. And then I just have to rave about this book, Girl 11. I gave it 5 stars. It's so good. If you like books with podcast elements that kind of feel like true crime, this is like definitely for you. The audiobook is so well produced. It has like a podcast jingle. It has different voice actors. It has like sound effects throughout. And this is so good. So I finished this the other day and I'm obsessed with it. I gave it 5 stars.
You're the second person I've heard talk about that. And I just wrote it down again because I love thrillers with podcast elements. So I really need to just get that book.
Yes. Also, I realized I forgot one. Sorry. Like I said, the brain is not braining right now. I read Knight's Edge by Liz Karen. It's like a vampire book, but it more focuses on like toxic mother-daughter relationships. But it's like a different take on the vampire genre because it's more of like a pandemic feeling book. People get this like vampire virus, and then the daughter needs to like provide blood for her mother. And it makes them isolated, and she kind of has to isolate from everybody. Then she meets this like romantic interest and thinks, oh, maybe this is like my way to get away from my mom. So I read that as well.
Well, awesome. We read a lot of books, y'all. That was crazy. And even like when you didn't read like 100 books, they were like these fat tomes of books. I'm like, that counts as 2 books. Okay, so now I just want to quickly go through, like, we're going to just our summer together, like June, July, August, like maybe pick out some of your favorites and let us know. And then if you had any like really big disappointments, I would say my standout favorites of the summer were Happy Place. I love Emily Henry's writing. I was a little let down by Book Lovers. So Happy Place kind of redeemed it for me. I also like that it wasn't like solely based on the romance, that it had a lot of like friendship vibes in it. So I loved that about it. I love books about friendships. Drowning was also good by TJ Newman. Same Time Next Summer, The Whispers, My Murder, The Only One Left. I liked it. Sorry. The Odds was a really good, like, quick horror book. And then The Ferryman, which I read for my night out book club. Last Night at the Lobster, that's that little restaurant one. And then The Stillwater Girls, that was also like just like a popcorn thriller. I just ate it up. And then Dark Corners, of course, and Ballad for Sophie. Those were my favorites of like the summer. I would show you, but the stack of books over here is unreal. And then the ones that I was disappointed by is I have some questions for you, which is kind of like podcast adjacent kind of, but it just wasn't, I didn't like it. And I thought it was too long. And then also A Twisted Love Story, which I kind of already talked about, that I was just like really let down by that one.
So I'm looking at my books here. I'll talk about a few that I really, really liked. Oh, snap. My books are falling apart. Divine Rivals, which I don't know, Grace, if you've read this, I feel like you would like it.
No, I haven't read it yet, but it's on my TBR. I'm just kind of on a book buying ban right now.
Oh my God, that's me starting in September, so in a few days. But Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. She writes mainly duologies, I feel like. I read her other duology, and A River Enchanted, which I also really liked, but this is a little bit different. Divine Rivals. It's about these two people who work at a newspaper company as columnists, and there's like a war going on in the background between these two gods. And the main girl, her name is, I forgot, Iris. So she's the main girl, and she has a brother who's out in the war, except she hasn't heard from this brother for months, and she's just working at the newspaper area trying to find some sort of information about him. But she has this rival at the newspaper area. His name is Kit, and they're just so cute together. She has like this typewriter that she is sending letters to her brother, and it goes somewhere. Turns out it's not really going to her brother. It's going to this other mysterious person. And he finally writes back saying like, hey, sorry, I'm not your brother. So like that love interest story is very cute and interesting, and that builds up. And it's like she goes into this war and tries to help in the front line, but also find her brother. And it's so good. And it ends in a
fantasy, or what's the genre?
It's YA fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you like it too, Naomi. But yeah, the second one, it ends in a cliffhanger, but that's okay because the second one comes out in a couple months. So if you guys want to start it, and that'll wrap up the series. So that is 5 stars from me. And like when I read Fourth Wing, I had a major book hangover, and this was one of the ones that got me out of it. Oh my gosh, it's free on KU. Did not know that. And then once again, the Green Bone Saga, that's what the trilogy is called. These are the last 2 books, but it starts with Jade City. So I gave all of them 5 stars. But you know how when you rate books, there's like different feelings of 5 stars? They like just keep getting better and better. And this is like 10 stars, I feel like. But it's basically about a lot of like family drama type of thing. I think they market it as like The Godfather with, I don't know, Jade. I think that's what they said. But it's basically about these 2 clans that are fighting each other for like all the power in this island of Ķeǩan. And you have like different levels of, I don't know how to explain it anymore, but it's just so good. Just read it. It is urban fantasy, and not too much romance, but there are some in there. And whatever I did get, I just like ate it all up. And then I did want to say this is also 5-star, Love Theoretically. It's about like these physicists, experimental and theoretical physicists. And it's funny because she works as I think, theoretical physicist, one of those, right? But she also has this side job as a fake dating person. And so she gets this job and she's like fake dating this guy, and they actually become friends. So he's pretty cool, but it's actually the guy's brother who she ends up, having this love story with. And it's so darn cute. Yeah, so that's another 5-star. What else is a standout? I think this one, if you guys have read it, it's a romance book. It's an adult romance, contemporary romance, You with a View. It's about this girl whose grandmother passed away recently, and she is like packing up all of her grandmother's stuff, and she finds a picture of her grandmother with like this mysterious guy when her grandmother was in her 20s. And she's like, who is this guy? This is not grandpa. And so she puts like this wide, like, I would say TikTok thing saying like, can you guys help me find out who this guy is? And it turns out it is the grandfather of this guy who they went to school with a long time ago. So it's like rivals to lovers type of thing. But this was 5 stars. What else? I'd say that's about it. Everything else was pretty good.
Okay. She said, that's it. Naomi, we'll move on to you.
Alrighty. All right. So I'll just do quick. Oh, there we go. I'll do quick shout outs of the books. So for June, I would say The Do's and Do Nots of Love. This is, if you've ever watched The Great British Baking Show, it's basically that, but like YA. And with the romance, it's queer. It's everything. I really, really liked it. The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth, just a regular mystery thriller. I believe it's set in Australia or New Zealand. I can't remember which one, but it has to do with sisters. The main character has autism. She's on the spectrum. I really, really liked it. And then also Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison, I'll call out. I got an arc for that. I think that should already be out.
I think September 12th.
Oh, okay, cool. So September 12th.
I think.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely sure it's September 12th.
So Rachel Harrison writes like, her Cackle by Rachel Harrison is kind of like a cozy horror. So she's written like a witchy one. She has a werewolf. This one's more like cult-ish. So if you're into that kind of thing. And then she's already talked that her next one will be vampires. So I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Like me and Naomi both love Rachel Harrison so much.
Yes. I will talk about later like books that we have started, but she's recommended a couple, and I'm reading one that she recommended, and I really liked it, or I'm really liking it. I haven't finished. But for July, one of my favorite books is probably going to be my number one of the year is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. Also, of course, Fourth Wing. I don't have to explain what that's about. Looking Glass Down by Kshatriana Ward. It's extremely hard to explain. It's a horror. It is very twisty, like mind twisty, bendy type story that has a whole bunch of different like POVs, timelines, and it all like connects. And it's really good. It's horror. It gave me like Stephen King vibes, but better in my opinion because I don't like Stephen King's writing. Yes, it's really good. I really like it, and I like attended one of her Zoom like author events, and she read like a whole passage, and like now I want to listen to the audiobook because I read an arc for like an ebook, and the way that she was like performing it, I was like, I need to listen to this again. For August, I'll call out My Magnolia Summer. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice surprise. And then the 7 Year Slip. So 2 romances in August. And books that disappointed me, I agree with you. For the I Have Questions for You by Rebecca. No. And I also did not like The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. It was not it. And that was my first Megan Miranda.
Okay, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was not that great. But
I'm so bummed because I got both of those. I got The Only Survivors and I have some questions for you. And like I have some questions for you seems exactly like what I would like, but I've been hearing everybody saying it's more like literary. Is that why it was disappointing?
I just feel like I've read stuff that's better, you know, like the It Girl by Ruth Ware. Like it's kind of the same vibe, and I feel like I like that one better. Was Ashley Winstead the person who wrote In My Dreams I Hold a Knife? Like that is the same kind of story. I didn't like that one either, but like out of like that type of story, I will always prefer the It Girl by Ruth Ware because I just love Ruth Ware. But yeah.
As far as me, I have some questions for you. I just thought the ending was very unsatisfying. I didn't think that it had to be as long as it did. I also feel like I didn't get answers to some of the things that I was expecting answers for.
Which is funny because it's like, I have some questions for you. It's like,
and I'm like, I literally do have some questions for you. So
please answer.
Maybe that was the point, but I don't like that. I don't mind ambiguous endings, but it wasn't that. It was just and then what else did I say? Also, I hate when authors I don't mind social issues in books. I actually really like it because I think that it brings like a new dynamic to the conversation. But when you try to cram every single social issue into one book, even though it was longer, you still don't have time to cover all of these important topics. If you're going to bring up an important topic, like you need to give it its due diligence. But when you do 20 important social justice issues, you're like, you can't cover all those. So something lacks. And it's like, so that's like a pet peeve of mine. So yeah.
That's all mine.
Okay. Did you want to go back to Eliza real quick? What were your disappointments, girl?
Oh, I think I already went through them.
Okay.
So there's this one, there's this one, and then there's this one, and then sorry.
Was it the ending that or you just didn't like it?
I don't know.
Overall?
I just felt like the way she responded to, so basically this, I don't want to explain it too much, but the way she responded to him giving help to her, I was just like, come on, just accept the help. And then
she was a little bit stubborn.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, I don't like it. And then the ending also made me hate it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh God.
Okay, Grace, what about you? What were your standout favorites of the summer and your standout disappointments?
Well, I'm glad Eliza's back because I'm about to talk about The Serpent and the Wings of Night again. I'm just going to give a little blurb. It is Vampire Hunger Games, and it's just so good. It's just so good. And I liked the spice, but that's just personal for me. And my boyfriend is not a reader, but I kept giving him play-by-plays about everything, and now he's like, I'm going to read this series.
Holy shit, that's good.
I know. And I just loved the second one because the spice is just immaculate. He just worships her, and I eat that up every time.
The second one is really good. It's like its own story, and he
it's just so good. Some people hate it because it's not as much romance, which I understand, but I just ate it up. I really liked the coming of age that she went through. And then I have Once a Broken Heart and A Ballad of Never After, because I feel like I have to talk about them at the same time. This is YA fantasy, and it's just so good. The third one's coming out, and don't talk to me on that day, because I am booked and busy that day. I will be binge reading it.
Yeah.
And it's about Evangeline, and she's like, my love of my life is marrying my sister, and she thinks that he's under some spell. So she goes to Jax, the Prince of Hearts, who's a fate, and she asks for his help. He grants her help, and in exchange for that help, she has to give him 3 kisses, and it's just so good. The second book, I think about it daily. It destroyed me. I read this in my 24-hour readathon, which is posted on my YouTube channel, and it really got to me. I don't know if it was the sleep deprivation or the feels, but it was very good. I have read the 6 Crimson Roses. I have not read Slaying the Vampire. That is on my TBR, but again, I am on a book buying ban, so
you know what's funny?
She's waiting.
I actually read the 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒔 series, and I did not like it. I just kept reading it because everyone just loves it. But then I was like, everyone's saying they love Once Upon a Broken Heart too. I'll just read it. And I thought it was okay. I liked it better than the first. But the second one, the Ballad of... I was like, oh, hell no. I need the third book right now.
Because I rated the first book. I didn't love the first book. It was very slow for me personally. But now when I look back on it, it's like a comfort book. So it's like it gets better. Yeah. And I think that's how a series should be. It shouldn't plateau. It should be like...
It definitely got better. I can't wait until the third one.
Speaking of 𝒂𝒊𝒏, this is in the same universe, but again, you don't really have to read it. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart first because of all the hate surrounding 𒂂𝒂𝒏, but I really enjoyed it. There are some plot holes, but I just got to overlook it. I didn't
know there was a lot of hate surrounding that series.
I think when it first came out, it was compared a lot to The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and a lot of people thought it was going to be that because of the circus aspect, but it's literally nothing like it at all. Like The Night Circus is about like a circus, but it's also about a competition, whereas this one is about like a whole... It's almost like a theater troupe. Like imagine going to a town and a whole like cast of people are putting on a big theatrical set or something like that.
I will die on this hill. I feel like 𒂂💏 and Once Upon a Broken Heart, it could be made into like a TV series. Like when I finished this series, I was just so heartbroken that I couldn't like turn on the TV and see everything play out, because that's how magical it feels personally. And I really only read this series because I knew Jax was in it, Eliza. I'm gonna out myself right there. Because I love Jax. I just love him so much. And then we have
to read the third book. I'm so excited.
I just love him so much. Give that man a break, honestly. Like, put me in that book because I will help that man. But A Court of Silver Flames, I love Cassian. I think I like him more than Rhysand.
I do too. I agree.
There's just something about him. Like, I just love big, burly men. And that is what Cassian is. And I just love Nesta too. She's just amazing.
I was worried about that book because I did not like Nesta in the first trilogy,
I didn't either.
But I love her.
But
I love
she
her
really came through. And I guess I didn't really talk about 𒂂💏, but 𒂂💏, it's like everything, the phrase is like everything is a game. Like it's only a game, you can't. So Scarlett and Donatella, they're sisters, and they live on this very isolated island, and there's this magical traveling circus, and they don't ever go to the same location twice. So it's very like mysterious. And yeah, love Cassian. So I'm getting so sidetracked, but they get a ticket and they go to 𒂂💏, and Scarlett has to find Donatella because Donatella's kidnapped, essentially. And it's just so good. And then the second book is in Donatella's POV, and then the third one, you have both of the sisters' POV. And everyone hates the third book, but I just loved it. I just loved the love triangle, which is surprising because I hate love triangles. I'm an Az girl, but I love Asriel. I love him so much. And I can't wait. There's 4 books. So the next book is coming out 2025.
No.
Sarah just likes to play me like that. She likes to mess with my emotions.
Grace is seriously about to cry.
No, I'm about to cry just thinking about it because this book like has put me in a life slump or something, because I feel like everything else that I've read afterwards, even Fourth Wing, just has never lived up to it. Like, I loved Fourth Wing and I think about it like on a daily basis, but this series, it's just so good. I got attached to everyone. I have not read The Night Circus, but if it's similar to Caraval, I might pick it up because, yeah. But I haven't read Throne of Glass or Crescent City. I heard that
Grace, you have to.
I just can't get emotionally attached to characters anymore.
And then she's like, how many times do I have to say I'm on a book buying ban? Send funds to Overbooked.
That's like a 7 series, and then House. I guess that's only a trilogy right now, but they are thick books, and they're just so daunting.
If you've just done ACOTAR, you should at least read Crescent City, I think. But
I know that's what my friends are telling me. I'm just worried about Throne of Glass because, one, you have to tandem read, and I heard that there's not, but you should.
No.
Grace is like debatable, Eliza.
But
you should read.
I heard that there's not a lot of romance in Throne of Glass, so that's what
when
I'm
it
worried
hits,
about.
it's good. Like
it hits. Okay,
I like it better than Rhysand.
Really? Okay.
So it goes like Cassian, Rowan, Rhysand, or Aslan.
Okay, Eliza. I might break my book buying ban.
Do it.
Oh my goodness.
That's all.
Okay.
Well, my biggest disappointment. Don't come for me because I know she's like a fan favorite. But Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. Oh. I did not like her. I didn't like her. She was cringy. I didn't like the main character. She was very pick-me. It just got on my nerves. It really did. And I think audiobooks, at least reading or listening to romance on audio, I don't think it's for me because it just, some lines just come out very cringy when you hear it versus when you read it. I feel like I feel like when you read it, there's riz, and when you listen to it, it's just like cringy, like not the vibe. So, but I do have better than the movies, so I'm gonna give Lynn Painter a shot again.
I read Love Wager by her. I thought it was just okay, but I agree. Like, I don't really listen to audio with romance books because I haven't had a good time with them.
See, I listened to the Love Wager as well, and I didn't. It was like a 3.5. It was very mid for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I just thought it was fun and cute, which is what a rom-com should be at the end of the day. So.
I heard the movie one. I don't remember the whole title, but I heard that's the best one, or that's
better
favorite.
Than the movies.
Yeah, better.
And I listened to half of it on audio, and I really like it. I think it's cute, but it's YA. I don't really like reading romance YA. I like YA fantasy, but romance YA just isn't the same. But it was really cute. I have the physical copy, so I'm gonna finish it by reading it. I think. Yeah, I think that's where I'm sitting at. I think I just prefer her young adult much more.
Hey, all right, Sav, bring us on home. Favorites and disappointment.
So I already touched on Jennifer Hillier is a new fave. Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier is probably my favorite or second favorite behind Jar of Hearts. I'm obsessed with it. I was shocked that I was obsessed with it, and that might be part of it. I don't think that's the whole reason why it's like a favorite, but you know, when you're just not expecting to enjoy a book that much and you go in and you're like, oh my God, this is a masterpiece. That's how I felt. So it's about this woman. She's living like a perfect life. And then all of a sudden her son is kidnapped. And so she's trying to find him. The case goes cold. A year later, she hires this private investigator. He's trying to find where the son is. And then they basically discover that her husband is cheating on her. And I usually don't like that trope, but in this one, it just worked so well because she was like, okay, so many things in my life are out of control, but I can take care of this problem. So she like befriends this woman and like basically you can assume what she wants to do. And it's just so good. And also just not even that, like the stakes are so high, but also I was so emotionally invested in this mother, just like losing her child, and it explores like grief and all of that. And it's just so good. I loved it so much. And then, like I said, like Girl 11, I was obsessed with. It also just has really good commentary on like how ethical true crime podcasts are and how to like approach it in a way that's like, not possibly encouraging copycats, but also trying to help solve cases, because it does help solve cases sometimes. So good. And then, of course, like Jar of Hearts, so good. It's about this main character. She had two best friends growing up. They were super tight knit, but then she like falls in love with this sort of like bad boy. And then one of her friends disappears one night, and it's like, I believe it's like 14 years later or something like that. The body is found, and she's like accused of having killed her friend. And so it's very dark. I was shocked at how dark it was, actually, like for a thriller. So like lots of trigger warnings for Jennifer Hillier's work, but I was really attached to the character. I was shocked by the end. Like, I was not expecting the end to go like that. Oh my God. Like, I was shook for days. It's so good. So highly recommend it. Yeah, you should read more Jennifer, or you should try Jennifer Hillier. She's so good.
You might get me back into my thriller era.
Disappointments. Yeah, like we were kind of saying, the only one left. I think I was mostly disappointed because I love Riley Sager's novels like so much, all the way up until Survive the Night. And I know a lot of people didn't like Survive the Night. I still loved it. I thought it was so fun. And then, The House Across the Lake happened, and I was kind of disappointed in the direction it went. And then this one, I was like, okay, it's a return to like the Gothic atmosphere, which is like my favorite of his. I love Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark. Those are like my ultimates. But this one, it just felt like the story was too familiar to me. It reminded me a lot of almost like the vibes of the Turn of the Key. And I just felt like I had read this story before. It wasn't surprising. And I was just like, I wanted it to be scarier, and it wasn't to me. Like, it didn't have that same Home Before Dark, Lock Every Door eeriness. And part of me can't tell if it's because when I first read his like books, I hadn't read so many thrillers before. And so I'm like, well, if I read them now, would I like them as much? But like, I still think I would. So I don't know what it was about this. I like the typewriter element, but I just felt like the stakes were not high at all, like throughout this book. I was not like, why? I don't know. I feel bad because I know so many people love this book, but it did not work for me. And it makes
I heard he's going on like a mini break. Like, it won't be.
He needs that.
You didn't say that? Did you say that?
I don't know. He was on a podcast. He was on the podcast for my job recently, and he was talking about how his next one's actually going to be a male POV. But I don't know if his next one will be like next year, or if it'll be like 2025. But he didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
But I know he talked about the POV being male, and like it was the first time he had said that.
Interesting. I didn't.
I'm excited for it, because also another critique about his books is like him writing female characters sometimes gets like slightly annoying. I don't know why every single time it has to be.
That's so funny.
Really, I don't know. Like the way.
No, it's funny that I didn't realize that until now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. And that is like a big critique of his. Usually it doesn't bother me, but I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel like it'll be nice to get, a different perspective. And I think I did hear that too, that he's taking a little break. And part of it was like his contract, like he had to get out so many books.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why this one just didn't work as well, because maybe it's a me problem. Probably is, but I've just felt like I had read the story before. So it wasn't like surprising.
I think Camille said that on tour, he said the one after will come out in June. So maybe, who knows? I guess we will see.
Yeah.
But I do think it will be interesting if it's from a male perspective, because who knows? Like, that's what he said, but it could change. Okay, so to break up the chatter, I want to play a quick little game. I've played it before. It's the Summer Pixelated Book Cover Challenge. So basically, I have pixelated some books that released this summer. So either June, July, or August, and you have to guess what the book cover is. Some of them are like more popular books, or like well-known. You've seen them around. Maybe some aren't. I don't know. I just did like a mixed bag. And you can just shout out the answer if you have the answer. Let me try to share my screen. Okay, share screen. It's this.
How fun.
Okay. So, all right. So the Pixelated Book Challenge. All right. This is the first one.
Oh, I know the author, but the title.
Yeah. And in the comments, of course, you guys can guess too.
Yeah, I definitely know the author, but I don't know the title.
What's the author, Eliza?
No, I don't know this one.
Keisha got it.
Oh,
Tom Lake. Tom Lake. Yep. It's Tom Lake by Anne Pratchett. And that will stick in my head because when I went to Nashville, I actually went to Anne Pratchett's bookstore called Parnassus. And this was like all, like all over the place in there. So I love the book cover for that. So I think it's really pretty. All right, next one.
Ooh, Family Lore by 𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒂. Of course I would know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said we can just shout it out, right?
yeah, just
Okay.
shout it out. Yeah.
Okay.
I love this book cover so much.
So excited to read that one.
it looks like an art print.
It does.
Oh gosh.
I've seen this on Book of the Month.
The Rachel incident.
Yep. Very good. The Rachel
wow.
incident by
I was just looking at that because it's set in the
Donahue.
UK. So I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll read this when I'm down there.
I love this cover too. All right, next one.
Hello,
I know
Stranger.
that.
Oh, this is by the girl that wrote The Bodyguard. Hello, Stranger. Hello, Stranger.
Eliza,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay.
I love that one.
Me too.
Yeah,
Cute.
so
Best.
cute. I have that one on my TBR for next month.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, next.
Oh, don't know this one.
This is hard.
I
Yeah.
don't know it.
I read it this summer.
I feel like I have an idea, but I don't know.
Here it is.
Yeah, the Whisper.
I
Keisha's
don't know
killing
what
this
that
game. Yep, it is The Whispers by Ashley Aldrain.
So pretty. Author of The Push?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll have to look that up.
I know. I still need
Did
to
you read The Push, Eliza?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I also liked this one. This is
Yeah,
I have like a video where I talk about this book a lot.
Okay.
So
I'll give that a try.
let's see.
No, I've been wanting to read The Push, and I just keep forgetting.
Oh, my favorite book.
The only one left.
Yep.
Oh.
Is this? No, it's not one of those falling books, is it? Falling, Drowning?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't know this one.
No idea.
The chat get it?
No one's got it in the comments yet.
Oh my goodness.
I keep thinking I've seen these covers, but I don't
You
know.
have definitely seen this cover.
What?
Yes, thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate.
I would not guess that.
All the Sinners Bleed by 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒔.
Oh, that
I
cover's
know
so good.
Okay, next, which I still haven't read. It's one of my most anticipated books of this year, and I still haven't read it, but I have it. So hopefully I'll read it soon.
This is
Lisa.
hard.
I just don't know what it is. All the things he said? No,
But it is the Lisa Jewell book.
I don't remember.
I should know this for reasons, but I literally cannot think. I can't even think of the title right now. It's like a title that's not memorable.
Has anyone read this one?
Yes, thank you, Keisha. Keisha is killing this. Just even got this one. Oh my goodness, yes. None of this is true. Oh my goodness. Okay, next.
Oh, I don't know this one.
I love this game so much.
Yeah.
Because I know them.
It's easy once you know it.
I know. Once you see it, you're like, of
so
course,
funny.
of course. Let's see if anybody in the comments gets this one. This one is like a more obscure one, but I think it was All right, no one is getting this one. Okay. All right, let me click over.
Oh no, I haven't heard
Have
of
y'all seen this one?
No,
No.
Gallia?
Yeah. By Harold Rogers. I was like, okay.
I know, right?
But yeah. Okay, next.
Oh,
Immortal
yes,
Longings?
you got it, I think.
What
Is
did you
that-
say? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Immortal Longings by
Yeah.
𝒂𝒔, I think.
Mhm.
Yes.
I still need to read it.
Yeah.
That's
Is
a
that the
house.
last word?
Sorry, what was it?
What did you say, Eliza?
I'm just thinking that's a house on a lake, huh?
No, it looks like
Oh.
a mystery, but
I
Looks
said
like
was that the last
generic-
word, but no.
Oh, I don't know.
That's not it, right, Wen?
No.
Okay.
It is Thicker Than
Oh.
Water. But doesn't it look like it was a house on the water?
Yeah.
Because of the dark at the bottom. Yeah. A twisty paste mystery.
No clue.
This one does have water.
is it a leaf? Oh no. Okay.
All right. This one is The Summer of Songbirds.
I've never seen that before.
Emily Henry said, "Put this in your beach bag immediately."
Yeah. She sure did.
By the way, Emily Henry, what's the one that she just came out with?
Happy Place?
Happy
Yeah,
Place.
that's the only book I haven't read.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
so
you gotta-
good.
you gotta
I
read
know.
it.
I don't know why I haven't.
Any guesses? Jesse, you should get this. You own this book, I'm pretty sure. All right, this one is Wanderlust.
Oh, that one looks cute.
Yeah. It sounds like really cute too. It's about this woman that wins a trip on a radio show, but they go through her phone and pick someone to travel with her. And it's like this, guy, and they go on this trip together.
Interesting. Oh my gosh, this is the Vietnamese nail salon one.
And the title is
I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Jesse. I knew it was someone. Lena got that book, not you. All right. What's this one called? This one is called Sunshine Nails. I love the cover.
Yeah. Oh, I need to read that one. Sunshine Nails.
Any guesses? I'm stumping y'all now. See?
Yeah.
I knew by having lesser known titles.
Mhm. I was doing so well.
No clue.
All right.
You were doing pretty well.
No way.
I've never seen this before.
Really?
Yeah.
That one looks good too. Every wife deserves her own happy ending.
Yeah. A
Oh my
provocative, funny novel by Gabrielle Zimmerman, author of Tomorrow, 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 my favorite book.
Oh, I like that one too.
The 7-year slip, right?
Yes.
I looked down for 2 seconds.
Good job, Grace.
I have to speak up when I know it because I don't know any of these books.
Is that Ruth Ware one? I don't know.
Yeah. Is that
It's Ruth
zero?
Ware.
What is
0
it?
days?
Yep.
Ah,
Or 0 Days. Have you guys read that one?
I have
I
not.
haven't.
I
I
want to
have
read
not. I have a love-hate relationship with Ruth Ware. I really liked I've read all of her books except for this one.
it. Oh,
Most of her books are 3 stars for me. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, at what point am I going to just put myself out of my misery and stop reading her? So, yeah,
gosh.
0 Days, 0 Days. That was a good
I liked
one.
her Snowed In one.
The One by One.
Yeah, and then I liked the It Girl.
See, I liked the, what is it? Not Lock Every Door, the Turn of the Key.
That's
I
my
liked that one, but yeah, 0 Days is not,
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, it sounds good in theory.
I have no idea what this is about.
I think this is about the couple that they do some type of they help people not get hacked or something like that, like businesses not get hacked. But yeah, Summer really disliked one. This Angel said it's her least favorite. So
Oh,
I'm like, damn,
damn.
do I really need
Glowing recommendations.
glowing recommendations? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh, this is
Oh,
an
man.
Ellen Hilderbrand.
Yeah.
Which one though?
Which one? Will
I don't
never
know. They all look the same to me. Like the perfect couple.
Summer of
Hotel
69.
Nantucket. Are those the
Summer.
new ones? I don't know.
I don't know this one.
This one is the 5-star weekend.
5-star.
5-star weekend.
All right, next.
This is blue.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I don't
I
know.
think this one will be a hard one.
Mhm.
I don't think people will get it.
Aw. Hope Sav's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What'd she say? Yeah, poor Sav. All right. This one was The Last Lifeboat by Hazel Gaynor. Captivating and unforgettable. And then I think, yep, this is the last one.
This time next summer?
Mm-hmm. Same time next summer.
Same time next summer.
Yeah, same title. It's basically the same.
Is that one good too?
Yeah, I really liked that one.
Same time
I
next
read
summer?
another one by her.
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So
I read the
I'm
other
sorry,
one by
Sav.
her.
I'm sorry, Sav had to go. Go lay down. Yeah. I just need to lay down. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be thinking about you, girl. I'll check in with you afterwards. Okay, last little questions for the night. Do you have any highly anticipated books or like 1 or 2 books that you are really looking forward to? I kind of alluded to mine earlier. When Naomi was talking about Rachel Harrison, I am so excited for Black Sheep. September 12th. I do like cult books. Rachel Harrison is one of my like go-to authors. I've read everything except for one of her little novellas. I've read the one that you read, The Veil, but there's another one like Dolls or
Bad Dolls. It's
Bad
really
Dolls.
good.
I've
Yeah.
heard it's so good, but I can't. Where did you read it?
It's a short story collection. I think the audiobook's on Libby.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to look on Libby, on my Libby, see if it's on my Libby. But
Because I think
I've read
The
all of her
Veil-
books in The Veil, but I didn't get to
Yeah.
see. I didn't see that one on my Libby. Maybe I just need to tell my library to get it.
I think The Veil is like strictly audible, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Bad Dolls is not.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just listened to the audiobook on Libby from what I
Okay.
remember.
I'm gonna have to look because I love Rachel Harrison. But what's your most anticipated, Naomi?
Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Comes out in November. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be anticipating that book. So run out, get your copies.
Yes, Grace. Pre-order it right now, girl.
I already have. She doesn't
Okay,
count.
okay,
She doesn't
good.
count towards my book buying ban.
Good job, Grace, because we don't want you to miss out a second time.
Pre-orders don't count with your book buying ban.
That's what I'm like. I pre-ordered it. It doesn't count. Oh my goodness. What's your most anticipated for this fall, Grace?
A Cursed for True Love. It's the 3rd and final book of Once Upon a Broken Heart. It comes out in October 30th or 13th, I want to say. And I can't wait. And I'm also looking forward to Lucy Score's new book, the 3rd one of the Knock 'Em Out series. I love Lucy Score. She's just so good. She's my girl.
Love that. What about you, Eliza? I'm sure you've got a list going.
I mean, I was trying to figure out what I have pre-ordered, but definitely Iron Flame. I pre-ordered like a bunch. I pre-ordered Waterstones, the German edition, our edition, whatever. And then also the 2nd book in Divine Rivals. So it was supposed to be published next year, but they bumped it up to this year.
Oh,
So I'm excited for Ruthless Vows. And then one I don't think people know much about is The Hurricane Wars by 𝒂𝒂𝒂💏. She's like a Filipino author. So it's like, I think it's also fantasy romance and based upon like Filipino culture and their hurricanes and stuff like that. So I'm so excited for this one.
that has a
Hurricane-
beautiful cover.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up our summer, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. I love that all of you have like fantasy in common and y'all are able to like fangirl over it. That just, it literally warms my heart so much to see other people like just like loving books as much as I love books. So Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh my gosh.
I'll have to like reach out to each of you and like, you know, I've had Naomi on my podcast. I'd love to have you guys on my podcast. Like, Liza, we have
Oh, yeah.
plans, you know? So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your evening. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys. Make sure you check out their channels. They're linked in the description box.
Nice
Sab
chatting
too.
with you guys.
He's down there. All right, check everybody out. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.